Yeah. Game time. Double dribble. GS walk tall. Let's go. Hey. Hey.
Let's walk to Double Dribble Podcast. I'm your host, DS. First thing first, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share my show because it's very important. Because I want to be able to continue to entertain you guys, and plus, I want the algorithm to like me so that you guys can see my content 24/7, especially today's content. Because today we're going to cover the NBA Finals. Um, Game 1, Game 2 was held in San Antonio. Now is in New York. It's going to be a zoo in Madison Square Garden. You're going to see a sea of orange and blue everywhere you go in New York City. I mean, we just seen Remy Ma, French Montana, Max B drop. Since You Left Me, and they all were in New York. In that same video, we seen the train station, going to the train station, painted in orange and blue, wearing the throwback jersey of the Patrick Ewing days, the John Stark days. Everywhere you go, Knicks fans are out here celebrating because they've been waiting for this moment. This moment, right here, right now. Game 3 in New York. It's gonna be a zoo. New York's gonna be off the chain. New York is gonna be unhinged. New York is gonna be on fire. Not just for game 3, but game 4 as well. Especially for game 4, if the Knicks win tonight and able to go to game 4 and clinch the NBA Finals. It is good to see an NBA city so passionate and ready to go. It's good to see the fan base happy that their team not only in NBA Finals, but lead the NBA Finals. And only thing Knicks fans can think about is that championship. Only thing you're thinking about is bringing that the Larry O'Brien trophy back home. The New York Knicks haven't won a championship since 1973, led by Willis Reed. They are 2 games away, and this fan base is going crazy. This fan base is so excited that they already believe in their minds that they won the championship. They believe right now that there's nothing that this team can't do wrong because they're going to win this chip. They're going to end it here in New York. That's what the fans are thinking. That's not what the New York Knicks are thinking. The New York Knicks are thinking about game 3. They're thinking about making minor adjustments. But you know what's the thing about making minor adjustments? The San Antonio Spurs. You know what the Spurs are hearing right now? Is what I just said. Knicks fans are going bonkers crazy about game 3 and game 4. The Knicks fans are so unhinged right now that in their minds that they believe that the Knicks are going to win the championship home, that they're going to clinch it this week. They're going to clinch this on Wednesday. Knicks fans believe that this is not going back to San Antonio. That's what the Spurs hear. That's what they've been hearing ever since Friday. And now the San Antonio Spurs are going to have to make minor adjustments from game 1 to game 2 to game 3 so that they can shut down the noise, so they can quiet the storm, so they can get back in this series, so that when it comes to game 4, it won't be no clinching ceremony. It won't be no New York, New York. What the Spurs have to do this week, take this back to San Antonio. The famous words of NBA Hall of Famer Charles Barkley when he played the Chicago Bulls in the 1993 NBA Finals. And they lost the first 2 games at home to the Michael Jordan-led Chicago Bulls. Game 3 was back in Chicago. The Chicago fans was just like the Knicks fans right now. They was going crazy. It was bunkers. It was loud. They were voiceless. They was like, "Yo, we not going back to Phoenix. It's over with. It's over." They wasn't giving the Phoenix Suns a chance in hell to come back and win this series. Chicago fans was like, "Look, come on, Chicago. We're gonna run you boys out of Chicago because we're not going back to Phoenix." Chicago fans was thinking that. With Charles Barkley written on that whiteboard to his teammates, he written, "Save Chicago." And the reason why he written that is because he knew that if the Bulls win game 3, more likely they win game 4. And since the Bulls fans was already at that point where they want to tear this city up, Chicago would be on fire. Bull fans would be everywhere downtown, north side, south side. Chicago was not going to make it. The city of Chicago was going to be burnt down to ashes. Charles Barkley written on that whiteboard, "Save Chicago." The Phoenix Suns were able to get a game or two in Chicago and send this back to Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns gave themselves an opportunity to win that series. You know, they lost 4-2, but they say Chicago because they know that if the Bulls would have won it at home, Chicago would have been a blaze of fire. It wouldn't be standing. Chicago would have to be rebuilt. Charles Barkley knew that. That sparked and motivated his team and himself. Look, we got to win a game or two here. And they did that. Gave themselves a chance. That's what the Spurs need to do. That's where their mindset has to be. Save New York. Because Knicks fans, like the Bulls fans, man, they ready for this. They're ready to set Manhattan on fire. They're ready to be in these streets, climbing poles, looting, celebrating vehicles. Knicks fans are ready to unleash 53 years of suffering. They're ready to explode. Now, the difference between both fan bases that Chicago Bulls had, that they was working on their third championship. And, you know, that was part of their back to back to back. The Knicks fans, as Stephen A. Smith would say, have been suffering for 53 years since their last championship. And whether the Knicks win it at home or whether they win on the road, they're ready to unleash all this pent up frustration onto the streets of New York City. Midtown Manhattan is going to be on fire if the Knicks closes out in New York. If the Knicks close this out in San Antonio, Manhattan won't be on fire, but Manhattan won't be the same again. Knicks fans won't be the same again. If you look at the tape from game 1, game 2, what the Spurs have been doing, you can see that, well, really the Spurs has just been in it. You know, just little minor mistakes towards the end of the game is what cost them and what got them down 2-0. Now, if you're the Spurs, you are in some trouble. But you got to look at it in the way of, like Coach Pop told the team before they left. First of all, forget about game 2. Forget about game 1. Forget about it. It's over with. Game 3 is another game today. You have to come out and be aggressive. If you are the San Antonio Spurs, not coaching staff, the very first thing you got to do, you got to get Wemby and De'Aaron Fox going early, because Wemby has not got off to a very good start in this NBA Finals. In game 2, he had 7 points. He was forcing shots. He didn't look like himself. It kind of looked like in the beginning, the moment was there, was getting to him. But in the second half, he settled down. He played good basketball. He played his style. You can't do that. You can't do that in New York. Because this crowd gonna be hostile. They're gonna be into it. They're gonna do everything they can to get that team off their game. The minor adjustment they need to make if they're in this game in the fourth quarter is that De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, whoever is the point guard in that situation, they need to go back and get the ball. They don't need to be going up court. When Wemby gets the rebound, he needs to look for them, and they got to push the ball up. I would prefer De'Aaron Fox because he's the veteran. He's the leader of this team. And I know I said that because of what the Spurs have done, and because of what the Pistons have done, and because of what OKC have done previously, I don't want to hear about young teams can't get to the finals. I don't want to hear about timeline. And I said that, and I stand by that. But you can see and you can tell that the youth of the San Antonio Spurs is playing a role into the reason why they lost game 1, game 2. Not physically, mental. Because this is a mental battle with them. Wemby has to get off to a good start. De'Aaron Fox has to get him off to a good start. Wemby needs to be in the box. He's a tall guy. He is 7'5". There's nobody there taller than him. He needs to have the ball in his hand. In the box. De'Aaron Fox got to be able to give him good looks. Wemby has to be able to hit those shots in the box to get himself going early so that the rest of his game will come to him. What I mean by the rest of his game, when the in and out game, you dominate the inside, then you go outside, you hit some jump shots. Then you take that little 15, 20-foot jump shot, then you start shooting those threes. It's very important that when you got to a good start, because if he get out to a good offensive start, that's gonna help him on the defensive end. He's the catalyst. He's the guy. The face of the NBA for the next 20 plus years. It starts with him with game 3 tonight, that he has to make a mark early and often. But it starts with his point guard by putting him in the right position to get him going off early. And De'Aaron Fox, who had a bad first game, let's keep it real, he was outplayed by Dylan Harper, his backup point guard. Box score, De'Aaron Fox had 20 points on 8 of 12 shooting, 2 for 2 from the 3, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. He needs to have one of those type games. He needs to get guys more involved, get guys into their spots, get guys going early, get Wemby going early. He needs to get Castle going. He needs to get Champagnie going, but he also needs to get himself going. 8 of 12 was good. Tonight it has to be more than that. They have to play sound offense. Defensively, they're doing good defensively, because what they're doing to Jalen Brunson by throwing multiple defenders at him, changing the look, that's great. They're good. They're doing good at that. Because Jalen Brunson, game 2, Jalen Brunson was 7 for 25, and he scored 20 points. Game 1, Jalen Brunson, let's pull it up. He was 12 for 31. He had 30 points, but Jalen Brunson hurt them down the stretch. Jalen Brunson down the stretch in game 2, he didn't close the game out. He struggled. That was the team victory, because Anunoby was hitting shots, Bridges was hitting shots, Shamet was hitting shots. That was a team effort win. And don't get me started on Cat because Cat is the best player in this series right now. He has outplayed Wemby in game 1 and game 2, and that's on Wemby. Wemby got to make Cat work. You can't allow the Cat get comfortable in his spots. He has to D him up. Cat is being physical and aggressive with Wemby. Wemby has to be the same way. He has to be aggressive. He has to get his body into Cat. He has to be able to get Cat in foul trouble. He has to make every shot that Cat attempts a tough shot. He is 7'5". Cat ain't no small guy. Cat's about 7 feet, 7'1". And Cat is very slow, but he has looked very quick against Wemby or making his move. He has to keep Cat working. He has to make it difficult for him. He can't move him because Wemby's a stick, but he can make Cat work. Make Cat earn those points. Make him work for him. Make it tough for him. You 7'5". You get a hand in the air. You 7'5". You should be able to block his shot. That's the adjustment that Wemby has to make on his own. That's not a minor adjustment. The other minor adjustment I just said earlier was I want De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper needs to go back and get the ball. And two, when they get in that situation with 14, 20 seconds left, you don't have to make it take foul. That's too much time on the clock. Do the take foul under 14 seconds. Maybe with 10 or 9 seconds left. Don't do it 14. That's too much time. And then when you're doing that early, you're getting them more time for Brunson, whoever, to dissect. They don't got to go quick. They can dissect what they're gonna do, and make that play. You do it under 10, you speed the game up for them. They don't got time to make a decision. The decision has to be quick. But that's another thing San Antonio needs to do is when they got the ball with 7.5 seconds left, they did right by giving to their best player. What Wemby did wrong was he took the jump shot. Go to the hole, young man. They're gonna foul you because you 7'5". 3 steps, you in the lane. They're not gonna move out the way. They're gonna foul you. Take it. You either gonna score or you're gonna miss or you're gonna get fouled. If you take the jump shot, he is letting his defender off the hook. Force them to foul you. With 7.5 seconds, are you 7'5"? It's a 50-50. It's 50-50. You're gonna make it or you're gonna miss it. But if you go to the hole, you guarantee you're gonna make it or you're gonna get fouled. Shooting a jump shot, they're not gonna foul you. They're gonna have a hand in the air, they're gonna try to make it difficult. That's all Mitchell Robinson is gonna do, is that he's gonna have a hand in the air, and he's not gonna be close to you, and he's gonna try to make that shot difficult. But if you go to the hole, then you're gonna force him to foul you because you're going to get past him. That's one thing about the Knicks centers, is that they don't have good feet. If you get them off balance, they don't have good feet. If you get past them, they're going to foul you. If they don't get you, and they're going to take the chance of you going to the free throw line, either to split. You got to force them. San Antonio either should have won that game in regulation, or they should have sent that game to overtime. It's the minor things like that is the difference between being down 2-0 or the series being tied 1-1. In San Antonio case, they played well enough and good enough to win both games. It's just that those minor little details in critical situations that cost them the game. And look, New York, you gotta give them credit. They have fully taken advantage of the New York Knicks. I think they went cold for like 4 or 5 minutes. Could have been more than that. They couldn't hit a shot. But what they were doing, they were out hustling, they was getting the rebounds, and they were getting fouled, and they was living at the free throw line. And I think it was either Ananobi, Bridges, or Brunson. One of them finally hit a 2-point shot to extend the lead to 3 to 4. And then went cold. Last 9 minutes, San Antonio went on the run and got back in the game. Actually took the lead. But what we haven't seen for a lot of young teams in the postseason, they come back down, they make a silly foul, they get over aggressive, and that's what happened. They lose the game. They made bad plays. Wemby did everything right. Got the rebound, got the outlet pass. Castle just wasn't looking. And then that's on Wemby. When they come into game 3, what they got going for them is that they're relentless, they learn from their mistakes, and they're confident. And it should be. Game 3 is a pivotal game. Game 3 is a must win for the New York Knicks because the San Antonio Spurs, as a young team as they are, they're going to go in this game lose because they have nothing to lose. Then if they lose game 3, they lose. If the Knicks lose game 3, all the momentum will go back to San Antonio, and game 4 is going to be pivotal. Game 3 is a must win for New York because everything is on them. The expectation of the Knicks winning game 3, that's a lot of pressure. The Knicks haven't lost in 45 days. And it's amazing how that these 2 games that they won, game 1, game 2, that they didn't play their best basketball, but they found ways to win. Jalen Brunson has been struggling game 1 and game 2. If you want to combine everything, 12 for 31, 7 for 25. He is 19 for 56 shooting. And Jalen Brunson is 4 for 17. Jalen Brunson has not been money like we expect him to do. And what's happening is that San Antonio is mixing that defense up. Like I said earlier, they're throwing bodies at him, and those bodies are playing good D at him. It kind of just like what the Pistons did with Asar Thompson last season, where he made things difficult for Jalen Brunson. If you look at Jalen Brunson is getting tired. They're wearing him down because they're throwing Darren Fox at, they're throwing Castle at, they're throwing Dylan Harper at, they're throwing the Vassell at, they're throwing Champagne. They're wearing them down. And it's a good strategy, and it's working. It is working. And what the New York has going for them is that Wembanyama is hitting shots. Mikal Bridges is hitting shots. OG Anunoby is hitting shots. Cat is leading this team. He's the catalyst. He is taking advantage of the San Antonio Spurs shutting down his running mate, and he's taking advantage of that. Now, the minor adjustment that the Knicks need to make is that Jalen Brunson is going to have to get off early, just like Darren Fox and Victor, that he needs to start this game off hot. He needs to get off to a good start. Whether they got to run some pick and rolls, whether they have to run him off some screens, but Jalen Brunson needs to have a good first quarter to get himself going as well. Cat right now is playing with so much confidence that I'm not too much worried about Karl-Anthony Towns. He is playing a lot of confidence. He is playing on another level. Karl-Anthony Towns is proven to every New York fan, every NBA fan, is that the stage is not big for him. This is his moment. It's not big for him. He's playing like a guy that he's been here before, and he's playing like a guy that he's the MVP of the series. That's what he's playing like. So I'm not too worried about Karl-Anthony Towns. The Knicks, others, they're stepping up because their leader is not having a good game. So I expect Miles McBride to step up tonight. Definitely expect Wemby Shamak to step up his shots tonight. I expect Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby have good games. Now I expect Mitchell Robinson to play some good defense tonight. But the Knicks don't win game 3, in my personal opinion. They're not gonna win if Jalen Brunson had one of those games like he did in game 1 and game 2 in San Antonio, because San Antonio, they're gonna play loosey goose. There's gonna be no pressure on them. The only thing the Spurs need to do today is be able to withstand the run, the ruckus of Madison Square Garden, because the Knicks is gonna have some runs. All right, the Knicks gonna make a run. What the Spurs needs to do is to be able to withstand the run, because that crowd is gonna demand it. So if the New York Knicks go on a 15-0 run, or 18-6 run, or a 25-11 run, San Antonio has to be able to respond to those runs. And they did. They did in game 2. So they're capable of doing this again. They got to be able to stand the run early. Don't panic. Okay, don't lose focus. Don't deviate from the game plan. Just stay calm, continue to play, continue continue to do the things that got you here, and be able to make this a game in the fourth quarter, because that crowd was going to want the home team to put this game away at halftime. They're going to want this team to put this game away in the third quarter. They're going to want this team to put this game away in the second quarter. Gotta withstand the run. Gotta withstand this run. Because now you have 4 ball handlers who can handle the ball. You got 4 guys who can penetrate, go to the hole. You got 4 guys who can create shots for Victor, for themselves, or for any guy on the court. I would not play Luke Cornett too much minutes. I would give Kevin Johnson more minutes. The Spurs, if they go down for that 4-guard lineup, they're giving themselves a chance. Everybody's making a big deal about the size of the Spurs and the Knicks. And yes, it is kind of a big deal because the Spurs are already a small team. So he probably would ask, man, why you want to go to that 4-guard lineup? They're already a small team. They're not getting no rebounds. Well, the Knicks has out rebounded the Spurs by 2 rebounds. Let that sink in for a minute. So I don't think that's an issue. It might be an issue tonight. It might be an issue game 4, but right now that's not an issue. I do believe that Spurs gonna make this a game. And I do expect the Spurs to win because who learn from their mistakes. We've seen that against Oklahoma City. They learned from their mistakes. They made the bounce back and win. So I do expect the Spurs to bounce back and win tonight. If the Spurs don't win tonight, I do not see them winning game 4. The only way the Spurs lose tonight is that if they don't make those minor adjustments, if they still make those same mistakes, because Castle has been a turnover machine in this postseason, and against the New York Knicks, you can't do that, especially in New York, and especially with the Knicks, who has not played their best game. It's kind of like the rust from sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's still there. They haven't shaken that off yet. If you Spurs, you kind of hope that they don't shake that rust off. Stay rusty. Again, um, I expect the Spurs to bounce back and win today. I expect Wemby to have one of his best performances in the playoffs, and I expect him to have a dominant performance in Madison Square Garden. If they don't win tonight, they're not winning Game 4. Bottom line, because we have seen the Knicks when it's time to clinch a series. They ball out. They 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 mercy you. They beat you and make you tap out, make you say uncle. They did it to the Atlanta Hawks. They did it to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They did to the Cavaliers to the point where the Cavaliers quit in Game 3, where they just refused to play because the Knicks were just getting in their butts. The Spurs have to approach this game as all the pressure is on New York. All they need to do is play their game. There is no panic. There is no concern. There is nothing. There is nothing for San Antonio to worry about if they win. But if they lose, then they're not winning Game 4. Again, all the pressure is on the New York Knicks to win tonight because that fan base demanded. That fan base wants to be ruckus. They want to be wild. They're ready to unleash 53 years of pain tonight. Knicks fans, to them, this is Wednesday. This is the clinching. Because when they get to Wednesday, it's all about, we clinch this on Thursday now and just want to make it official. Knicks fans are ready for the parade. They're ready for the champagne. They're ready for everything what comes with winning the championship. Again, they mercy Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 to the point where they quit. They stopped playing. They beat the Atlanta Hawks by 58 points. The Atlanta Hawks got mercy and they quit in the first quarter. The Cleveland Cavaliers quit at halftime. So if the New York Knicks are able to do that to the San Antonio Spurs tonight, going to Game 4, it's just by making it official. But then again, this is a young team who doesn't know any better. All they out here doing is playing ball, beating teams. That's all they've been doing. But I expect this NBA Finals to be very, very good. Game 3 is going to be very good. It's going to be very awesome. The only thing that's missing from Game 3 is me being there because I love to be in that atmosphere. I miss that. I mean, I've been to the NBA Finals. I worked the NBA Finals, and that atmosphere, that ruckus, that energy in the crowd, that passion, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I experienced it numerous times, and those New York fans, those San Antonio Spurs fans are experiencing it now, and it's nothing like it. It is something that you were always going to remember, win or lose. So with that said, um, this has been the DS Walk Double Drop podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I will be with you guys tomorrow because we're going to talk about Game 3, and we're going to talk about what we seen. And then we going to talk about see did both teams make those minor adjustments, and we're going to see if the next crowd got what they want. But before I sign off, don't forget, NBA draft is coming up later this month. Giannis trade situation is heating up. The NBA investigation is almost coming to an end with the LA Clippers and Kawhi Leonard circumventing the salary cap. That decision is going to be coming soon. Hopefully after the finals, before the draft, because you don't want to drag this out anymore. And the NBA, you know, just like most of the basketball fans, be getting tired of the wait. Make sure you guys stay up to date on the NBA news. I will be giving you guys NBA news tomorrow, and we're going to cover game 3. This has been the DS Walk Double Drill podcast, and I'm out. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Hit play, that's a tip off. We in it from the jump. DS Walk breaking down the action. Hey, run, talk stats, talk drama, talk hustle, talk hard. From the league to the black top, you pull it apart. Late nights, hot takes, you can hear the net sing. Overtime moments, every episode rings. You ain't courtside cool. He bringing you to